Sail away Dieter and Ping stayed in San Francisco for a few extra days after Toulouse memorial service to help Meg sort through belongings. To celebrate their new domestic partnership, Meg encouraged the two
Goddesses and
to take
fairies, the
several
glorious
bunches of
goddesses
flowers to
settled
the
down for the
courthouse.
Saints'
Pass them
Storytime
out to
Theater,
whoever you
though the
see.
more
Toulouse
rebellious
would like
ones,
that.
Martina
So
from
many
Mars
extras
and
were left.
Sirius from the
Way
Dog
more than
Star,
we needed to
went
silk the
outside for a
paper
smoke
origami
break.
boat with flowers.
Thank you all.
Alone in her
Yes,
Victorian
good
flat,
sisters.
Meg
Things
used
turned in
memories
our
of the day
favor
to
after
keep
I
the
was
company
awarded
as
the
she
title
cleaned up
Saint.
after the
Just last
post-memorial
week my
service
energies
party.
were pulled
Meg
back
took a
up into the
break from her
glorious
chores to
home of
record
the
some
Moon Mother.
highlights of the day
And
in
here
the
I
fairy
am.
journal.
Blessed
The
be.
journal made
A
of
gooey
handmade
pink
paper,
glow sent
embedded
waves
with
of love,
herbs and
love, love
flowers from a
throughout the
fairy
room.
sanctuary.
But why did
It
you
would
go
become
back
a
to Earth
safe for
after you
memories,
returned
a
home?
place to honor
Ursula
important
Uranus
things
questioned the
related to the
Saints'
fairies.
motives.
With
They
words
obviously
and
didn't
poems,
like you. I'm
scraps of
sure they
hair
don't
and
want you
patches of
around.
cloth.
Not all of them
Sprinkles of
saw me as a
iridescent fairy
heinous
dust made
heretical
its way to
harlot,
each page,
Ursula.
creating a
Saint
book
and
worthy of
Thrax walked
display
around
in a
the
museum.
interior of the
The
ritual
book had
circle.
only 7
I was
blank
on a
pages
mission to
left.
learn about other
Meg
divine
already
feminine
started to make the
sisters
paper
who had
that would
visited
become
Earth.
the next volume
Then,
of the
as a
Fairy
fitting
Archives.
reward,
This
the
time
radical
she used the
fairies
trick
called
that
upon
Toulouse
me.
suggested to
Now
make the
I'm their
paper
patron
stronger.
saint.
Gather up some fan
FYI,
cotton
I
underwear
need to split
and
my
stick it in
earthly
bleach for
visitation
24
allowance
hours.
into small
Cut
bits
it
of
up into
time
small
over the next lunar
pieces and fill
cycle.
the blender
That
with
way
one
I will
half
be more
water to one
available
half
for
underwear.
apparitions.
Let it
The
rip.
radical
Use the
fairies
pulp
need
to
my
mix
help.
in with the
Not
herbs and
Reverend
flowers.
Peter and
It's
those
a great
twisted
way to
Godam in
recycle
Tulsa
cotton
gang.
and will make
Miss
very durable
Mercurius
paper.
recalled the
She
onslaught
shut
of
her
prayers
eyes and
sent to
rested
the
her
members
feet
of the
up on a
God
large
IUD
silk
number
pillow that
13 as a
added
result
Asian
of the
color
group's
and
last
patterns to
takeover
her
of a
undyed
Quaker
head
community in
couch. Had
Pennsylvania.
someone pulled the plug
Yes,
on her
your
charger,
intuition is
Meg
right,
closed her
Mercurius.
eyes and easily
Saint and
visualized
Thrax
the
put her palms
24-foot
together in the
sailboat.
Let's Say
How
Our
it pulled
Prayers
away from the
madra.
dock in
Saint and
Sausalito,
Thrax,
making
Ursula
slippery
Uranus
sounds as
added
it
her
glided
support.
into the San
We all
Francisco
agree
Bay.
it's important
It
to
felt like the
protect and
boat
secure
slid
the
on
places
glass,
where our
with
secret
few
knowledge is
waves to
hidden.
break the
It is
path.
obvious that
There
the
was a
gay radical
spectacular
fairies
view of
support the
earthly
divine
hills that
feminine
were seated
and
between the
understand
edge of
about
the
the
water
fruitful
and the top of
darkness.
the sky.
The majority of
Like
the
a scene from
fairies
a
are
plein
not
air
aware that
painting,
pieces of
the East
knowledge
Bay's
are
mix of
hidden
houses
throughout their
and lush
community.
vegetation
As
had
we
a
all know,
comforting
secret
European
knowledge
look.
is kept
On the
secret as a
opposite side of the
precaution.
bay, white
Saint
haze
and
turned the
Thrax
view of
sensed the
San
question and
Francisco
answer
into a
session
backdrop
brewing, so
befitting a
she
movie.
promptly
The
ended her
sunlight
presentation.
diffused by the
She
mist.
bowed as
The
a
scene
gesture
looked
of
like it was
understanding.
artfully shot
I
through a
thank each of
soft
one of you
focus
for your
lens.
unique support.
Everything turned
In whatever
black
way
and white,
feels right.
like in a film
This whole
noir
story
film.
time
A
took that
fuzzy
much
spray of
time?
mist
Just to
made
tell us
everything
that you
feel
are back
cool and
on
damp.
tour down
The
there?
result of the
An
thick fog that
unidentified
hung
goddess
close to the
sat in the
water.
very back of the
Memorial
room,
donations
outside
provided
the
enough
circle,
money
and
to
was
rent a
slumped
boat
in a
that was
beanbag
not
chair.
too big
This
and
was a
not too
nameless
small.
renegade
It was large
goddess.
enough to fit a dozen
Yes,
mourners on
Saint and
deck,
Thrax
so the
ignored the
gathering felt
questioner and
cozy,
focused on
but not
cutting a big
claustrophobic.
slice of
No
cheesecake.
one said a word
Saint
after
and
the mourners
Thrax,
stepped
do I
foot on the
detect a
boat.
bit of
It is
uneasiness
rare
in your
for a group
voice?
of fairies
Is
to
there
be
an
in the same
underlying
space
reason?
without someone
Moon
talking.
Mother
The
motioned to
fairies
Saint
began
and
to
Thrax
confer
to come
nods
and
and
sit at her
hugs to
feet in
Toulouse
front of the
widow
circular
cacao.
orb chair.
Lucky I wore the
As the Saint
waterproof
sat down,
mascara.
everything
As the
stopped.
only thin
Moon Mother
cacao
set a
said,
time
each
freeze.
fairy
The
had to
moment was
struggle to
pressure
keep
pushed into the
balance as
space
waves
between
sloshed
here
up
and there.
onto the slick
Then and
wooden
now.
deck.
With
The
all
rocking
goddess
motion
eyes
reminded
wide
Pat
shut,
of how she rocked
Moon
her
Mother's
son Toulouse
fingers
to
flicked
sleep
out
when he was an
multicolor
infant.
streams of
The same
energy
motion
currents that were
reminded
sucked
Jay of
into the
massages
goddess's
she
subtle
gave
energy
Toulouse.
fields.
Near the end,
Wide awake and
Toulouse
aware,
didn't want to be
Moon
seen,
Mother
let
broadcast her
alone
message,
touched.
and,
He
to
wanted this
verify the
process to
transmission,
unfold
a
without
tiny
intervention,
billboard
and the
rose above her
hospice
head
became
and
his
blinked out the
cloister for his
message.
healing opportunities.
Receiving
He would
universal
protect
guidance.
himself from being
This group.
petted out of pity.
Pause.
He even insisted
Fairies.
that his partner
Need help.
Cacao only visit
Pause.
twice a week.
Pause.
In his place,
Will spread
Jay and
love,
Meg
love,
became
love.
his caregiver.
Saint and
He
Thrax
felt under
called.
attack
Come
by
quick.
those mean purple
Pause.
blotches.
Pause.
KS lesions
Pause.
that popped up like
Trouble
spring
ahead.
wildflowers.
Attempted
He would have
takeover.
picked them all,
Hide
if
knowledge.
only he could.
Pause.
Of all the
Pause.
sickening aspects
Council
of AIDS,
assists.
Toulouse had
Saint
the
and
least
Thrax
patience for the
protects.
dark splotchy
Pause.
lesions.
Whatever
He
will.
imagined they
Will
were
is
all
what will
connected.
be.
A mass
Pause.
of tangled dark
Is.
roots made their way
Pause.
into the
Be
center of
is.
his being.
Moon Mother's
Hungry
communication
taproots that
was
dug into his
encrypted.
heart.
Shards
The
of the
lesions live off
communication
my
hung
emotion,
close to the thin
Toulouse
moon
told Jay one
atmosphere.
night as they
Goddesses
played the card
assimilated the
game
messages
cards.
quickly,
They
and
sucked.
sparkles of
Like
knowledge
bedbugs suck your
showered
blood.
down upon the
These
ladies of
suckers
the
drain
court.
me.
A
They
sign
seem
that
to
things
live
were
off
as
they should be. Moon Mother's inner light dimmed during the message, then assumed its full brilliance, and time was back on track to continue along its way. That's what I call fairy dust. Venus pointed up to the flickering fallout. Is that the arrival of Tinkerbell in the Disney film? All blue, gold, and glittery. Tinkerbell? Martina questioned, taking the opportunity to throw in a little Martian humor. Isn't that Paris Hilton's rat-faced puppy's name? Was he in a Disney movie? That Lady is a Tramp film?
No.
Martina's attention was fire-hot, but blazed like a wildfire with no visible means of support. Tinkerbell played the best puppy dog in the world. Wasn't Paris the co-star? Pshaw. Sister Saturnalia shook her head and punctuated her statement by using an archaic phrase that loosely translates as, "No way, dude." Thanks for your input, but we've got things to put in motion, Martina. Thank you, Moon Mother, for your infinite wisdom and intuitive guidance. The goddess has truly blessed us. During my last visit, I noticed that the fairies honored Gaia with a seed-planting ritual. Saint Anthrax said, "The fairies gathered in an area left by a crop circle. Then they sprinkled blessed seeds onto the ground. Hand in hand, the group walked the sacred spiral outside the fairy freedom garden, and they chanted, 'Seeds we spread our spirits know with trust in Goddess new things shall grow.' The fairies demonstrate a deep spiritual connection with inner wisdom. They are devoted to their community, Mother Earth, the goddesses, and the infinite I Am." Saint Anthrax closed her notebook. She had finished her proposal and sat down next to Moon Mother on the red velvet love seat. "I move that we draft an official divine order of goddesses, interplanetary universal division number 13 proclamation." Moon Mother knew the time had come for an official statement of intention. "I propose that we officially adopt the fairies and assist them whenever needed. We will band together to protect the fairies from the upcoming Godamental takeover. We will also assist them with a plan to protect the hidden knowledge." I second the motion. Madame Mercurius preferred quick decisions over any ongoing debates and rumination. All in favor? Each goddess sent out a signal that meant yes. "I will personally connect with Gaia, who sends her regards." Moon Mother concluded the meeting. Due to ongoing struggles on Earth, Gaia couldn't take any time off from protecting the planet. "But I'll take a care package down and send her love, love, love from each and every one of you glorious goddesses." Moon Mother looked out her round living room window at the huge blue-green Earth, partly highlighted by the morning sun. "Fortunately, Father, Son, and I will be taking some time away from each other. There is a lunar eclipse coming, so I'll have a chance to see Mother Earth for some much-needed goddess talk." Toulouse survived times where he felt alone, shocked and outcast by his culture and government. The tall and proud fairy protested on the streets in the early 80s. Those times when AIDS drugs were withheld from the first HIV-positive individuals. And he continued his activism as the life-extending drugs were released with a price tag that only young millionaires could afford. His story chronicled the life of a loving activist, a hero for the young gay men he took under his wing. That is one reason Toulouse insisted on a dignified end to his story. And as the time grew near, he held a meeting of the fairies. Toulouse spoke of how he loved to wake up to the calls of the raven in the garden, how he valued the irreplaceable memories of being together at gatherings, how the open space of the fairy sanctuary drew him into an undeniable sense of being in the source. It all came together flawlessly. During the end of his sharing, he offered a few messages that came from within. There is no greater blessing than the simple joy of being in life. To be life as it unfolds from moment to moment. That's when Toulouse announced his vow: "I will live each moment to its fullest. I will stay present right up to my last breath on Earth and beyond." That was how Toulouse approached his last year. Feeling crappy or feeling weak, hallucinating, stammering, or having problems walking upstairs, Toulouse took it all in stride. Many were puzzled that, in the face of a terminal illness, he could be so deeply content. Toulouse folded origami right up to the last hour of his life. When Jay answered the call at 2 a.m. and raced to the hospice in order not to be too late, the nurse on duty handed her a crane, gave her a hug, wiped away her drool and tears, then broke the news she already knew. Toulouse said, "Fly free, blessed be." The next morning, Meg discovered the origami sailboat. Placed inside the top drawer of Toulouse's hospice dresser, the paper boat fit perfectly inside Jean Genie's ornate box. A week before his passing, Toulouse told Meg about the plan to fold his personal paper sailboat. Meg thought the fever had made him delirious. "Yes, that sounds wonderful, Toulouse. You fold amazing sailboats." Late one night, Toulouse asked for his special paper he made at the fairy sanctuary. Out of old underwear, dried flowers, herbs, and feathers. He turned on his small blue fairy nightlight, blessed the paper, centered himself, and began to fold. As he formed each crease, he recited a blessing. "May all beings dwell in the open heart. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be happy." Each fold carried its own message pressed into the paper. Toulouse placed the boat in the box and wrote a small note that he set on top of the box: "A resting place for me. A boat much easier to make than building my own pine box." On the day of his memorial, the paper sailboat overflowed with flower buds, fairy sparkles, tiny folded cranes, and messages written by his friends. Meg nestled a tiny hand-blow glass bottle into the center of the origami boat. Taken care of like a much-loved child, some of Toulouse's ashes rested inside the bottle that was wrapped with the silk-embroidered funeral blanket. The tiny package looked like a precious and unusual offering, one you might see on a Day of the Dead altar. They all knew when the right time to release the boat had arrived. Meg laughed at the irony, seeing how difficult it is to get most fairies to agree on anything. The passengers on the boat nodded, then moved closer to each other. The foghorn on Alcatraz blew. Then, in a frozen moment in time, seagulls appeared. Startled from the horn, the large white birds flew straight toward the boat. This was far better than a salute from the Blue Angels. Nature and the guardian angels came together to give their final salute to Toulouse. The winged ones circled the top of the sailboat and called out in seagull talk.